Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Fed Up, your no BS nutrition podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Marie, certified personal trainer and nutrition specialist, working with clients since 2014. After swimming up diet culture's bullshit stream for so many years, I am fed the absolute up with how miserable it's making people feel when we are supposed to be getting healthier. This podcast is here to help you gain your sanity back so you can stop yo-yoing once and for all and finally learn how to trust yourself so you can enjoy food again without fear or shame while still getting to your health goals. My aim is to teach you how to detect the BS in not just the food and diet industries, but in all realms of life, because I know that, like me, we are all just a little fed up. So without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, my good friends. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode where I am going to be simplifying it for you. We are looking at the 5 health habits that you should actually be doing. There are so many programs out there, so many supplements, so many dietary patterns, so many people with so much advice for you on how to optimize your health or how to optimize your hormones and how to blah, blah, blah. Here's what actually frickin' works, okay? Let's dive in. Number 1 and 2 are going to be more physical activity. Number 3 is going to be about nutrition. Number 4, we are looking at some recovery practices, FYI, sleep. And number 5 is a little bit about stress because we've got to include that in there. So let's dive in, shall we? Number 1, you should be walking and standing most of your days. I know, this is way easier said than done, but one of the worst things we have done for humanity is put us all in desks, and this is the worst thing for your health. Across the board, sitting or just not moving very often is one of the worst things for your health. So if you can walk or stand a lot of your day, 4,000 to 8,000 steps consistently, sure, you can aim for the 10K, but let's just start basic, right? The evidence actually shows about 7K is where the health benefits start. So if you don't get to 10K, that is fine. And sometimes trying to get to 10K consistently just leads to burnout, or it leads to more unhealthy practices. So if you're staying up late and neglecting your sleep or not, realizing that you should not go walking at 1 a.m., this is not what I'm saying, okay? You don't need a certain number, but if you're only getting about 2,000 steps a day, let's increase that to 4,000. If you're consistently getting about 4,000 to 8,000 steps most days, you're probably doing okay. Something that I do notice with a lot of my clients and friends is like some days we get like 10, 12, 13,000 steps, and then other days we're getting like 200. It is okay to take rest days, take off days. I totally agree. But overall, when you look at if you have like a watch or something that is keeping track of your steps, if you look at what your average is for the year, try to add a little bit more to that. My average this year is about 7,500. I don't need to add more, frankly. There are certain days that I am getting like 10 to 13,000 steps. So the fact that I can balance that with some days that I am not on my feet as much is good. Good for balance, good for recovery. I don't often wear my watch too on like Sundays when I kind of have a chill day. So yeah, I might have a little hibernation one day a week. And I think that that is perfectly fine. You do not have to be beating yourself up for not getting 10,000 steps every single day. Let's look at your average. And let's look at like the majority of your week. Are you sitting at a desk all the time? You need to bring that desk up or get out of your freaking chair and stand part of it. I cannot stand with how many people who are like, cannot stand, no pun intended. Anyway, I cannot stand it when I ask somebody if they have a stand-up desk and they're like, yeah, but I never use it. I'm like, what? What is wrong with you? Stop doing that. Stand a lot of times, but also you should be pacing or kind of shifting weight or again, like just taking movement breaks, because the worst thing for you is not necessarily sitting, it's staying in one position too long. So Anyway, I won't beat that any more than I need to. Number 2, lifting weights at least 2 times weekly, if not 3 to 4, but let's say 2 to 3 times weekly. You need to be doing resistance training. This is more important, in my opinion, than like running your little heart out with cardio or doing a spin class or doing yoga. You need to be lifting weights. That is the one predictor of like frailty in old age. If you can step off a curb and not break your hip, I think you're winning. But also lifting weights, I think mentally does a lot more for people than just like running if you like running, fine. But a lot of people don't really enjoy that super intense cardio or like the HIIT training. And so they do it for a little bit and then they're like, man, this sucks. Weight training, especially when you have like progressive weight training and you're getting stronger and you're seeing results, it does more for your mental health, your physical health, your physical aesthetic. It does so much more for you than just like, oh, I want to like build some muscle. Like, yeah, muscle is what you need, and bone density is what you need to keep your body healthy and young and fit in all sense of the word. So if you can do anything for yourself 2 times a week, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, in addition to walking, that is a lot. You are doing great if you're doing 2 to 3 times a week lifting weights, walking consistently, 5 to 8,000 steps a day. You're looking good. You're looking hot. You don't need to be doing these really extreme workouts, or again, if you're just like jumping around in your living room, great. Movement is movement, but you need to be progressively lifting weights that put a demand and a challenge on your muscle and your bones. And that's how we prevent osteoporosis, my friends. So, number 1, walking, standing. Number 2, lifting weights weekly. Number 3, regular eating patterns. I'm not even going to say exactly what you should be eating, but if you can work on anything, it should be regular, consistent meal times. So many people end up either just like there's no rhyme or reason for when they eat lunch. They skip lunch a lot of times. They eat dinner and they're always eating something different or whatever it may be. If you can eat enough food throughout the day regularly, you are going to do better for your blood sugar regulation and binging and cravings and things like that because you are getting enough food and your body knows when to expect it. Now, granted, this can't always be perfect. I get it. But if you can learn to eat breakfast, eat lunch, eat dinner, have a snack or 2 in between, you're doing pretty well. Now, yes, we do want to be eating enough fiber consistently so that you're not bloated anytime you have a salad, or you want to be eating enough protein regularly with those meals. So like, yes, when I say regular eating patterns, I don't just mean times. I also mean with what you are eating. It should be, a regular amount of fiber and protein that you're getting every day so that you're not like getting 5 grams of fiber one day and 50 grams the next. Like, it's probably better to get 20 to 30 grams every day consistently than to go up and down. And your eating patterns should be sustainable. So it's not going to be these extreme diets, extreme restriction, extreme I'm cutting everything out, because they're not sustainable. And then you end up rebounding, or then you end up just falling completely off the wagon. This is why quote unquote dieting doesn't work. It's because it's the sustainability that doesn't work. So your eating patterns, if you can regularly eat similar things throughout the day, you can have like staples throughout the week so that you're not just going through these like big cycles of weight cycling, as we call it, like yo-yo dieting, things like that. That's worse for your health than just like being a little bit quote unquote overweight. If you are even overweight, you don't have to lose weight to be healthier a lot of times. You just want to work at being sustainable. So there are ways to improve your diet quality, but you want to make that diet quality stick. So if your goal is to add more fiber, it should be to eat a consistent amount of fiber every day, not just like overload your fiber for 2 days. And then you're like, well, I don't want to eat a vegetable for the rest of the week. So anyway, regular eating patterns is what we're after. Number 4, regular sleep patterns. Consistent wake and sleep times as much as you can. 7 to 9 hours of sleep as much as you can. Not relying on alcohol or cannabis to sleep because, by the way, you're not really sleeping that well. You're just passing out. Sleep is where recovery happens in both your body and your brain. It is so, so, so important. It helps prevent depression and Alzheimer's or dementia, I should say, in general. Chronic lack of sleep is associated with more mood dysregulation and less concentration. And they say if you're driving when you're sleep deprived, it's the same as driving drunk because you can't keep your eyes open. So if you can do anything for your health, focus on your sleep. Now, I understand there are periods of your life where you have a newborn or you're stressed or you're having some sleep disruptions because of X, Y, and Z. It happens. But again, you should not be bragging about the fact that you only got 4 hours of sleep and, oh, sleep is for the weak, or, oh, I stayed up till 2 a.m. to do this. No, go to sleep. Prioritize your sleep. You are just a big baby in an adult body. And this is why newborns, by the way, sleep so much, or kids sleep so much, is because there's so much like a rapid development happening. You need to sleep because that's where the recovery and the growth happens. So if you're working out 2 to 3 times a week, but you're not sleeping, that is where you gain the muscle. We actually break down muscle when you're lifting weights. You create like these micro tears in order for the body to lay down more nuclei in the muscle and form new muscle. That happens when you're sleeping. Okay? So focus on your sleep. If you can't do anything else, focus on that. And number 5, if you are walking consistently, lifting weights consistently, eating consistently, sleeping consistently, number 5 is build stress tolerance and resilience. 1 through 4 is kind of how we do that. If you're, again, recovering well and you're training well and you're eating well, you are going to naturally build your stress capacity. But it also comes down to keeping and practicing boundaries for yourself as well as with others. It means that you're taking rest and alone time regularly while also engaging in fulfilling social interactions. You need a little bit of a balance depending on if you're an introvert or an extrovert. You are building capacity to handle stressful times with your routines, with your positive self-talk and self-compassion. This is a huge element of my coaching, is learning how to catch yourself in those negative thinking spirals or the shame-based thinking patterns. Those are so detrimental to our mental and physical health. When you feel like a POS, when you actually work on like encouraging yourself and being nice to yourself, which means, again, practicing boundaries for yourself, that's part of that, is learning how to, okay, you know what? I'm going to shut off the screens so that I can focus on going to bed. I'm going to keep integrity and keep my promises to myself because I said I was going to do something. I need to follow through because it proves to your brain that you are a trustworthy person. And that is, there's nothing more damaging than when you like live outside of what you feel aligned to. And that sounds kind of voodoo when I say it like that. But when you are living in alignment to how you are treating yourself and you're following through with that, it does so much for your like well-being. And that means stop procrastinating. That means start budgeting and stop spending outside of your means or like shopping because you just feel sad. And that comes with like emotional eating or emotional, vaping or whatever it is. Like you've got some work to do because you don't feel aligned with yourself. And when you start engaging in life in these positive ways, right? Like you're prioritizing your sleep. It's all the boring stuff, right? You're eating regularly. You're lifting weights so that you can get stronger. You're walking and standing most days. You're practicing both alone time and social time. You stop wallowing in your self-pity and watch how your freaking life changes. Your stress tolerance gets so much better because you're not running on, fumes for one. So when stress hits you in the face, you're fed, you're well kept, you are, rested so you can actually face the day. There's nothing more damaging for you, like in a stressful moment, than like when you're hangry or when you're sleep deprived. Have you ever noticed you get one bad night of sleep, you skip breakfast, next thing you know, anything will like completely tear you apart. Anything will lead to an anxiety attack. Now, again, granted, there are people that have clinical phenotypes of being, which means like it is genetic to a certain point, how well you can tolerate stress and your propensity to have anxiety or panic or depression or mood disorders. Some of that is not within your control. But if you can figure out how to manage these other areas of your life, you're getting enough exercise, the right kind of exercise, you're eating regularly, you're sleeping regularly, it will still help you manage those symptoms a lot better. A lot better. Let me just tell you from my own personal experience. Even things like your premenstrual dysphoria disorder, PMDD, it's like you take PMS and you just add freaking like all these other components. Like you're not just a little irritable, you're having meltdowns. You're not just a little depressed, you're borderline suicidal, like, or even having suicidal tendencies. Like there are real physiological things that happen during PMDD or people who are prone to this that are a lot better mitigated when you are well fed, when you focus on sleep. Then when your hormones shift, you're not running on fumes, so that those tiny or big major hormone shifts that happen during your cycle, they're not going to just throw you completely off the rails because you've managed these other areas of your life. So even if they do tend to have a pretty big impact on you, you will still feel a lot better when you got enough sleep, right? So I know it's all the basics. It's not the fun stuff. And all I have to say to that is grow up. Grow up. I know you want to have the best thing, the newest trends, or, oh, it's got to be, this type of supplement, or it's got to be my hormones or whatever. Well, guess what affects your hormones? Your nutritional status, your sleep status, whether or not you have muscle on your body, whether or not you're moving regularly. Those all have a direct impact on your hormonal status, which again is going to affect PMDD or PMS symptoms. It's going to affect your thyroid function. It's going to affect your insulin response. It's going to affect your neurotransmitters in your brain like serotonin and dopamine. Anyway, you get my point. I know it's not fun, but it is, trust me, because then you feel like you can handle life and you have creative energy and you have emotional capacity to handle the shit, right? That's what we want, to be able to handle our shit. So those are the 5 health habits that you should actually be doing. And I hope that helps. Talk at you next week. Bye. Thanks so much for being here, friends. If you enjoyed this episode, please screenshot and tag me over on Instagram or leave a 5-star review wherever you are listening from. Your support means the world to me and only helps me get the No BS news out to more people. If you're interested in working with me in nutrition or personal training, check out my programs and courses on my website at kaylamariefitness.com and on Instagram at kaylamarie_fit. See you next week.